Welcome to today's webinar. We're excited you're here today, and we're very excited that Nancy Friedman, the telephone doctor, is joining us. She's been very gracious in the past doing a couple of these webinars with us as part of the Log My Calls webinar series, and we're excited that she's here again today. Before we turn it over to Nancy, I just want to make a few announcements. First of all, my name is McKay Allen. I'm the Inbound Marketing Manager at Log My Calls. And to give you a little bit of background, Log My Calls is a call recording and call scoring platform. And so I will talk a little bit more about how we work with Telephone Doctor in a moment. But one of the things that we're really passionate about is providing useful information to people. And what more useful information could you have than a short training by Nancy Friedman? So we're really grateful that she's agreed to join us today. A couple of announcements first. We encourage you to ask questions throughout this webinar. You'll see on your GoToWebinar screen there a little question bar. You can type questions into that bar, and then at the conclusion of the presentation, which will last about 35 minutes, I'll read a few of the questions to Nancy and she can address those. Second, this webinar is being recorded, and that recording will be made available to you after this webinar. And so with that, I do want to introduce Nancy. We all know Nancy, of course, the telephone doctor. She's appeared on various national and worldwide media outlets and has trained thousands of companies worldwide, and we're excited that she's agreed to join us today. A word briefly about Service Insure, and then I'll let Nancy speak to this and turn the presentation over to her. So Service Insure is a partnership between Telephone Doctor and Log My Calls. It's a way essentially to hold you accountable for the training that Nancy provides. So instead of just delivering training and receiving that and improving your performance, hopefully, Log My Calls provides a way through Service Insure that you can actually record your employees on the phone and then score them based on Log My Calls or based on Telephone Doctor, parameters, based on Nancy's specific guidelines to determine if the training is sticking and to make sure that it sticks. So just as the title indicates, it ensures that service improves. And so we're thrilled to partner with Telephone Doctor to offer this. So with that, Nancy, thank you so much for taking the time today. Thank you for joining us on this webinar. And I'll turn the presentation over to you, Nancy, and move slides when you direct me to do so.
Yeah, he's going to be my Vanna White. Blah, blah, blah. Go back to the front page where they get my picture just for a moment here. McKay, please, if you can, go back. There you go. First of all, I am younger and thinner in person, and that's to all my friends who know me. So don't be saying, oh, I do want to mention that at the end of the program, I will tell you how to sign up for our newsletter again, and you can email me, of course. We are available, as most of you are, on Telephone Doctor Facebook, which I want you all to like us, Twitter, and, of course, LinkedIn. I'm not going to pitch too much on that. Turner, my web page turner here, webinar page turner. Normally when you're on a Telephone Doctor Nancy Friedman webinar, we're talking about skills and all sorts of customer service tips and techniques. Today's program is on the 7 traits to help make you successful. And of course they speak to customer service, but there are so many ways to be successful. We've designated 7, put them in this program, which I do at association and franchise meetings when I speak. So each one has a special niche to it, and we'll go through them. So pay attention, not only for yourself, but for your staff. Do the people that you want to improve and the people that you want to promote, do they have any of these skills? Now, all of you are going to have some of these traits, rather not skills. So you're all going to have 1 or 2. Very few of us have all 8. I have a cousin in Des Moines who thinks he has all 8 traits, but he's wrong. Okay, there's Stephen. I said hello to you. All right, so let's turn the page and get on with the program. McKay, don't be slow. 1, 2.
It's
okay.
Seems to be freezing a bit on me here. So one.
Oh, what a good page to freeze.
Don't you
on.
love that? That right
oh,
when you need it to
I love that.
go.
They're all laughing now. This is why, boys and girls, when I do a program, if you've ever had me, I see Tire Pros is there. I just spoke there. If you've ever had me at a conference, I do not use PowerPoint. And the reason is I have never seen one go flawless. They may do it, but I've just never seen one. And I'm an old the old comment, you cannot do two things well at once. So I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to talk about the first point, which McKay will eventually get.
Yes, we'll eventually get there. Sorry,
we'll
for some reason it froze, so go
slide.
ahead.
That's all right. The first slide says, choose your attitude in advance. Now, I have a poster with me that, oh, there you go. Thank you. I have a poster with me that obviously you can't see, but it was an article, actually, that was written by Drew Barrymore. And Drew Barrymore, of course, you know, an actress in Hollywood, and she wrote in Parade magazine how to have a great attitude all the time. And I thought, wow, I want to read this. So I read through it, and then on the very back of this poster was a little, here's how I do it. Okay, here's how I do it. So I will share with you how Drew Barrymore gets a great attitude all the time. And her quote, and I'll read it verbatim, says, I just rip off my clothes and run free. So for our first exercise, ladies and gentlemen, if you'll just start, no, I'm just kidding. The point is, we all know that you need to start in the morning with a great attitude, and that's where it starts. When your feet hit the floor, you're either going to have a great day or a blah day, but it's your choice. It's your choice. McKay, I have something on my screen. Okay, I don't anymore. So how do you choose your attitude in advance when the stuff hits the wall? It's a decision that you make, and I guess one of the very best decisions that somebody made or didn't make maybe was when I was in a lighting store, and I went in the lighting store with my daughter and my husband, and of course, as you know, when you go to a lighting store, you're looking up because that's where everything's hanging, all the lights are hanging down, and I couldn't find anybody to wait on me. Oh, wait a minute, I do see somebody at the front of the store, and I saw a woman laying on the counter, basically, her head in her hands, and I could see she wasn't feeling well, and I tapped her on the shoulder. I said, pardon me, madam, how much is that blue light? She said, that's not for sale. Oh, okay. So I asked her another question. I said, does that come in green? She said, no. And I asked her a third question. She barked at me again, and I took a step back. I said, pardon me, madam, are you okay? She tried to put a smile. She says, I've got such a hangover. I threw up all night. I have diarrhea. I can't stand my husband. And she starts on and on and on. She says, we went to a party last night. It was horrible. I said, excuse me, was I with you? Well, she started to apologize, as right she should. And I thought, look, I don't want half your aggravation. I said to her, is that your purse on the floor? She says, yes. I said, give me half the cash. She said, what do you mean? I said, you're giving me half your diarrhea, half your throw up. I don't want, give me half your good stuff, too. She had what we have labeled emotional leakage. And I told her, I said, you're emotionally leaking on me, man. You're taking last night out on me, and I wasn't even there. I wasn't invited. I don't know who you are. Well, as I say, she started to apologize, as right she should. And I thought about a vase that my husband held up years ago, and he said, Nancy, if we drop this vase and it falls into 100 pieces, we can put it back in the bag and put the pieces back in the bag and bring it to the man who fixes vases. They have that person, but it will never be the same again. And so you can bark at somebody and ask for apologies, and you'll get it, probably, but they'll never forget it. So your attitude determines how the whole day, my gosh, that woman shouldn't have even come to work, let alone be there in a bad mood or tell me about it. So you choose your attitude in advance. I have story after story after story that prove that people who put their feet on the ground, put on a smile and say, thank you, it's a great day, do have a better day than most. So choose your attitude in advance. When you get up tomorrow morning, hey, it's going to be a great day. And, there's a difference between attitude and mood. People say, not pretty good attitude about life, I always have. And people will say to me, well, what's the matter, Nancy? Don't you ever get in a bad mood? Are you Pollyanna? Of course they get in a bad. Who hasn't? Is there anybody in this world who hasn't been in a bad mood? But what we have found is that people who have a great attitude get out of a bad mood quicker. It's that simple. People with great attitudes we don't want to wallow in that stuff that they're stepping in. We don't want to get near it. We don't want to smell it. We don't want to touch it. We don't want any part of it. Many years ago, my husband and I decided we just didn't want any negativity around us. We didn't want to talk negative to each other, to other people. We didn't want to be around people who were too hot, too cold, too short, too tall, too fat, too thin. So we stopped being around those people. We stopped hanging around. Now, we don't have a lot of friends. We're happy because I'd rather be with one happy husband than 100 people who are always complaining. So if we just stop now, and I just give you this one trait, that successful people choose their attitude in advance, you'd have enough to go on for the rest of your life. All right, number 2, what does that mean? Visualize success. Well, successful people visualize good things happening to them. They don't dwell on the negative, as I said. They visualize good things. They tell you, as you know, that if you want to lose weight, you put a picture of yourself when you were thin on the refrigerator. That's supposed to stop you from opening the refrigerator door. You visualize yourself being thin. Anybody watching American Idol with me? I'm watching it. Every one of those kids that are singing their hearts out, they visualize themselves as being the American Idol. They visualize the success. They visualize themselves going back home in a couple of weeks and being the hero. They visualize it. Now, I ask you to visualize your own success because that's a good trait in sales and then just in life in general. But here's the secret to visualizing success. I was in a Barnes & Noble store a while back, and I picked up a book that happened to be, I think the name of it was The Secret, and some of you may have read it. And I browsed through it. I almost bought it, but I stopped when I read the following item. I stopped when I read, if you think it, it will happen. And I said, gee, I'm going to try that. So right there in the middle of Barnes & Noble, I closed my eyes and I said, I want to be a dentist. I want to be a dentist. I want to be a dentist. And I opened my eyes, and lo and behold, I was still Nancy Friedman, telephone doctor. I was not a dentist. So I'm not so sure that if you think it, it will happen is true. I believe that you need to be realistic. I believe that reality plays a huge part. But visualize your visualize yourself in success, but be realistic. Example. I visualize a lot of success, and I visualize a lot of fun things. Now, I've been on Oprah, I've been on CBS, the Today Show, you name it, I've probably been there. I've been very, very lucky. I visualize myself on Bill O'Reilly or Mike Huckabee. That's where I want to be, and that's where I want to be someday. Now, if I just close my eyes and say, I want to be on Bill O'Reilly, I want to be on it's not going to happen. What do I need to do if I want to be there? I got to find an angle. I got to get a press release. I got to find something fun. Then I got to find the right producer, of which there are now 10 instead of 1. You got to pitch that. You have a lot of work to do if you want to do something. If you want to be a dentist, yeah, go be a dentist. But you got to go to school. You got to be an intern. You got to go find somebody who want to hire you. So you can visualize all the success you want. But the realistic part is it should really say visualize reality. In my point, visualizing success is good for us. We all want to get the deal. I visualize myself selling this person. That's good. But what do I have to do to sell this person? Well, I got to be good. I got to know what I'm talking about. I got to be knowledgeable about the product. I've got to be knowledgeable about life. I need to ask them some questions. So the visualization is great, but the reality and the realistic point that you bring in is far more important, in my particular opinion. Visualize success. I would love to take questions in the middle, but obviously we're not going to be able to. So if you have some questions or you want to call me direct, that will be fine. Number three is probably one of my favorites, and that's demonstrating. In order to help yourself be successful, we need to demonstrate humor, energy, and enthusiasm. And the way I look at it is I watch people walking in parking lots or at the grocery store. I watch them walk. And the slower they walk with their head down, looking at their feet, I'm thinking, you're not very energetic, and you're probably not real successful either. And I'm thinking this, I don't say it. So when you're walking through a parking lot, when you're walking through the office, when you're just walking in life, put your head up. Don't look down at your feet. You know where you're going. Keep your head up, shoulders back, stomach in. There's a little challenge for all of us. And walk with energy. You don't have to walk fast, just energy, a little to little in your walk. That energy demonstrates you're going toward success. Enthusiasm, I guess the best way to say this is I was doing a program in California, one of the major car manufacturers. And it was a small group of call center people, about 12, 15 people around, and after we did the program, I had a Q&A. And one of the young ladies, they all asked questions. One of the ladies says, I've got something I bet you can't answer, Nancy. She says, I've been doing this job for 12 years. I have to answer the same question over and over again, day in, day out, all day long. How do I keep my enthusiasm up? And I took my little theatrical beat, and I yelled at the top of my lungs, it's your job. Well, the woman who brought me in stood up and applauded. It's your job to be enthusiastic about what you're doing. I don't understand. I don't understand people who are not enthusiastic about what they do. Then don't do it. I had a program the other day in Orlando. A guy sat through it 3 times. And I said to him, I said, what are you, a loser? You just don't catch on quick? He says, no, I'm addicted to your enthusiasm. Well, I believe in what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. So, yeah, I carry some enthusiasm. Humor, I believe there's humor in everything. Most people do. Most people can find the humorous side of something. And when you do, you tend to be a little more successful because you can laugh it off. Not laugh it off, but work with it with a little bit of smile in your voice, if you will. And I guess somebody came up to me a while back and said, okay, Nancy, I'll bite, but what about death? I mean, do you think death is funny? And I thought, that's a real weird question. And I said, well, I don't think death is funny, but I can tell you a funny story about death. And so I proceeded to tell them this quick one. Let's not so quick. You need to pay attention to this because this really happened about 10, 12 years ago. I am, as you can imagine, Jewish, all right? And my husband and I are Jewish, and my dear friend Jim Van Camp is Catholic, and I need you to remember those two names for the story. So Jim passed away several years ago, and we went to the wake, and I hadn't been to a wake in my life, but we went. And Jim was married to a woman. They had 7 children. The 7 children had 7 children, so there were about 35, 40 people at this wake, plus more. And at about 9 o'clock, they were closing the funeral home up, and somebody said, well, we're going to say a prayer around the casket. So we all got around the casket. Jim Van Camp is laying in the casket, and the priest, who without a doubt, as God is my witness, must have been 90, 95 years old, and he started reading a little prayer book. Well, as he started reading, he was stuttering and stammering, and his hands were shaking, and my husband turned to me, because it was painful to watch him. Nancy, why don't you go read the prayer? And I looked over to the widow, and I said, do you mind if I go read the prayer? She said, no, please do get it over with. So I went up to the father, and I said, do you mind if I read for you? She said, oh, I'd be so thankful, thank you. So I took the little prayer book, and I began to read. And I read, dear God, please help the N family. The N family is very important to us. The N family needs your help. And I look up, and everybody's starting to laugh. And I'm thinking, why are they laughing? Oh, it must be a Catholic thing. We laugh at our funerals, so okay, that's all right. The N family this and the N family that, and I'm going on 5 minutes, and finally, God bless the N family, and finally the widow came over hysterical laughing. I said, what do you mean? I was supposed to say, where it says N family means, in Catholic words, insert name here. So I was supposed to say, dear God, help the Van Camp family. The Van Camp family needs your help. So yeah, we were all laughing, and if you don't think it lasted, the other day I was in the grocery store, and I saw one of the kids who had been at the funeral. She said, hi, Nancy, how's the N family doing? So the N family remains part of that funeral, and it did lighten the air, and it did make us more successful, because we realized that, yes, passing is not fun, but it led for a little bit of humor. But I think if you are Catholic and you ever have seen, you know, God bless the N family, I think it should say insert name here, because if a Jewish lady ever reads it, we're going to bless the N family. So demonstrate humor, energy, and enthusiasm. Number 4, those of you who know me know that we try to live like this, and it's resist negative influences. Time does not allow me to go into, but if you own our video, our program on 5 forbidden phrases, you know there are 5 phrases that are negative that we don't say it. From doctor, condition of employment, grounds for termination. And I have exercised my options. See, I told you before, I don't do well with negativity, never have, never will. Don't want to be around you if you're complaining all the time. It doesn't fit in my lifestyle, it's not in my DNA. So to be successful, one of the traits is you resist the negative influences, people, words, things that bring you down. Now, everybody has people around them that can say, oh, you know, that gal's he's always complaining, he's always do this, that. You know what? Limit your time with those things. Limit your time with those people. They will drag you down. You won't be successful. Things happen. It's how you deal with them that makes you successful. Everybody has negative influences, negative things happen to them. Everybody does. Myself, my husband, everybody. It's how you deal with them and how you work with them. So resist negative influences. I did have a friend who was so negative all the time. And as I say, I just had to tell her, I said, you know, it's real draining on me. I'm not doing well with all the complaints that you are dumping on me and venting on me. I'm just not doing well. I sympathize as much as I can, but I would appreciate if we could just one day say, you know, it is beautiful out. It's partly sunny, because it was always partly cloudy. So, you know, that's the glass half full, glass, you know, type thing. So resist your negative influences if you're looking for a trait. And again, take you to your staff as well as, and your own family members to be successful and have things go a little better in your life. You will, if you can, resist negative influences. Stay away from them. Get rid of them. Not worth it. Okay, move on to number 5. Be a whatever it takes person. Now this is the service part of this program. I don't believe in yesing everybody to death, and I don't believe that the customer is always right. Our motto here at Telephone Doctor is the customer always thinks they're right, and that's the mentality one needs to deal with. But the be whatever it takes person really should say, in small letters, be a double checker. Be double checker. It's so easy to say to them, you know, we're out of that, we don't have any, we're getting some in soon. That's so easy. But when you're a double checker, something like this happens, and it's so rewarding. Excuse me. I went into a shoe store the other day, a couple months ago, and the woman said, can I help you? Arms folded like I was a bother to her. And I said, yeah, you've got the purple shoes in the window, like those in a 9.5, please, medium. She said, we're out of them. How how do you know you haven't even looked yet? She said, well, I sold them yesterday and we're out of them. I know, shoot. I said, would you do me a favor? Would you go back and just double check? Because sometimes people put them in the wrong place, or they're whatever. Just maybe they're there. She says, I'm the one that sold them. I'm the one that knows. We're out of them. And I said, I know, I hate to be a pain in the butt, but please just double check for me. I really, really want them. It goes with the whole outfit. Okay. You know how they do that in the arms, the shoulders go down. Okay, you're about, but I'll do it. She's gone 2-3 minutes. I sat down. She comes out from the storage room with a little box under her arm. And I said, those wouldn't happen to be the 9.5 purple shoes that are in the window, are they? She said, well, somebody put them in the wrong place. I had to tell her to double check. Wouldn't it have been wonderful if she said to me, the last time I looked, because I sold them yesterday, we didn't have another pair, but let me double check. It happens all over. You know yourself. You get you get negative tendencies from other people immediately. We're out of them. We don't have them. It can't be had. It's our policy, whatever you want to say. So I hate to have us as the customer be the trainer all the time. Just say, do me a favor and double check. And then you, as the provider of the customer service, when somebody asks you something, whether you're in a tire store or whatever, just say, let me double check. Sometimes I'm wrong. Oh my gosh, isn't that fun? And the worst case that can happen is you come back and say, shoot, I was hoping it would be there, but we are out of those shoes, and I apologize, but I did go back and double check. At least the customer thinks, wow, somebody went that extra step. So you got to, in order to be successful, you've got to be a whatever it takes person. Don't be an acceptor in life. Just with somebody says, well, they said the room was full, the hotel was filled. Somebody tells me there's no room at the inn. Do you think I really believe that? OMG. You've heard the old story. Guy goes up to the hotel desk. Yes, Friedman, have a room, I have a reservation. I'm sorry, sir, we're all filled. Well, I have a reservation. I'm sorry, sir, we're all filled. There's no room here tonight. We have a big convention. But I have a reservation. I have a number. I'm sorry, sir, we have no room. There's not a room in the hotel. Let me ask you, if the President of the United States was coming in tonight, would you have a room for him? Oh, yes, we would. Well, he's not coming. Give me his room. So bottom line, there's usually always somebody to find something. If you're not satisfied with who you're getting service from, just go somewhere else. That's what, how everybody complains about the call centers around the world when somebody doesn't help me. I just had a horrible experience with, I won't say the name because I'm going to go after the company. Gosh, they were terrible. And I thought to myself, instead of hanging out with this woman who was frustrating me, no end, I'm going to say thank you very much. I'll wait 5 minutes. I'll call somebody else. And what did I get? I got somebody who helped me. Don't be a victim to staying on the line and working with somebody who's going to be so obnoxious and can't help you. By the same token, if you're serving somebody, get in the habit of saying, let me double check. The last time I looked, we didn't have as many as I thought we did. Let me double check for you. Do you mind waiting? Do you mind holding? Do you mind standing here? Whether you're person to person, face to face. Be a whatever it takes person. You'll be so much happier. It makes everybody happy. All righty. McKay, I'm not able to see if there's anybody asking a question. Do you see it?
Yeah, I can see there are a few questions coming in now, Nancy. Do you want to take a couple of these right now, or should we wait till the
No, I was just curious if I'm wasting my time, but I guess we have some nice people. Oh, my Kim. Kim, are you there, the Good Cook? If you haven't been on eBay on the Good Cook, she's got fantastic stuff. I think the website is thegoodcook.com, something like that, Kim. Fabulous, fabulous. Oh, golly, this is fun. Number 6, embrace change, expect it, and accept it. Holy cow, why dwell on what you can't fix? If something's going to change and you can change it, go ahead. But lordy, 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 if it's something that you're not able to fix, accept it, expect it, and move on. Fix it. I mean, there's stuff in everybody's life that changes. I wish I had a good example right now, but we've all had them. Okay, here's one. The guys, I'm sorry, you won't identify this, but there's not a woman who's listening that doesn't understand the following scenario. They have discontinued the bras that I wear. Can you believe that? They have discontinued the bras I wear. And, by the way, my lipstick. So they gave me another bra and another lipstick. I had to expect it, and I accepted it. And you know what? I like the color of the lipstick better. And you know what? Yeah, I like the bra better. And bra is an okay word to say. So bottom line, I mean, there's changes, not just in policies. It happens all the time no matter what. They change something. Manufacturers change something. People change their ways, their minds. Expect it and accept it. It's one of the traits of being successful. And then we have number 7. Oh, good, we're going to have time for some Q&A. This is fun. Be grateful for what you have. There is no room for jealousy in a successful person. There is no room for jealousy in a successful person. So you got to be grateful for what you have. And when I do a program in person, I ask the audience, and I'm going to ask you now, get pencil and paper in front of you. I want you to just write down one thing that you're thankful for, just one thing. I'm not asking you to make a gratitude journal. That would be wonderful if you did, but just one thing you're grateful for. And I write down my health. 2 years ago, I had open heart surgery, and today I feel like 35. I wish I looked it, but I feel like 35. So I'm grateful for being alive today. I'm grateful for my health. What are you grateful for? Because wishing for something else isn't going to make you successful. You're not going to be able to change the past. Be grateful for what you have. All right. I will just go on to explain a little bit about Telephone Doctor because I know we do have some new clients here. I met some new people at some recent conferences, and they may not be aware of what we all have to offer. So we do have a wonderful DVD 18-module customer service training library. Don't hang up, folks, because there's a contest coming. Do not hang up. You won't be able to be in the contest. Our online platform, serviceskills.com, has over 90 in a few weeks, 90 modules of information. It is an awesome platform for training. We have small group training. My Margie Schmitz, who I hope is listening right now, is our facilitator 25 and under. She's fabulous, a 4-hour, entertaining, wonderful group. If you're saying, boy, I can't afford Nancy or Nancy's not available, I only got 18 people, Margie's your go-to gal on that. I do the large group training of the association, franchise, and corporate meetings. So if you need some kick, some fun thing, yeah, I'm your girl. We do, of course, the Service Ensure with Log My Calls, and that has been very effective and very successful to our Telephone Doctor clients because it does measure. It is painful to to make a phone call and hear how your employees are answering a call, but no pain, no gain. That's what my trainer says at the gym, no pain, no gain. So it's a very valuable service. Our Telephone Doctor University is for people who own our product. It's 2 days at the Telephone Doctor, which we're remodeling right now. We should have taken some pictures and put that on. Getting new carpeting, painting. If you've been to Telephone Doctor office, I mean, it was nice, but this is even sparkier now. It's going to be just great. And TDU is done by a facilitator I bring in, and she does a 2 days on-site, and so how to use our products better. Our virtual workshop is brand new. And that is virtual workshops for those people who don't want to bring somebody in or don't want to leave your own office. We now offer virtual learning workshops, and Margie can answer those questions if somebody calls in. Margie will call you on those because that's a subscription basis, and it's, I believe, going to be very successful. It is brand new, so you can get in on some good information. Thank you for listening. Turn the page one more time, if you would, McKay, because, okay, here comes what I was waiting for. Only the people who stayed on the thing. Write in your book, and I want to hear your best customer service experience. That's the new word now, experience. What made you say, wow, I'll go back? Send your entries to press@telephonedoctor.com. You're open to get the whole rest of the month of March. Writing a book, I haven't decided on the time. I have a contest for the title, but the bottom line is going to have customer service experience in it. And even the entries got now, about 50, 75 of them already. They're just little pieces of information within a story that will make this a fun book for people to say, wow, I didn't think we should do that. So you're going to get some good training from that new book that we've got coming out. Press@telephonedoctor.com. Go ahead, do we have one more page? Did we have one more page, or is that it? Just how to get a hold of us. Oh, our newsletter, and I did mean to put that on first. If you want to get our monthly newsletter, that is telephonedoctor.com. If you want to see a little more on nancyfriedman.com and how I can come to your meetings, it's nancyfriedman.com. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, blood type ORH negative. What else? My mother's maiden name. Boy, there's a lot of information there. This is always such a fun group, and we get very good reception from our listeners. McKay, I think, Log My Calls and Contact Point for doing this. As I say, I see so many people that sometimes people sign up and then they get called away. They're not with Susie Peterson, California Bus. If you're there, hello. Oh, Marcy, are you there? Grapevine. Enjoy from Liberty Tax. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mary Kay. I'm just all these wonderful. Dusty, are you there? Dusty, you still on? Oh my gosh, look at you, the good book. I'm just blessed with wonderful clients. I love y'all. Let me hear your questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nancy. That was great. So we've got several questions about a variety of different things. So I'm going to go through them, and we'll hit as many as we can in the next 10 minutes or so.
Can you show me the question? Can I see the questions too on my screen? Will you be able to do that or not?
Yeah, you should be able. We won't be able to show them to everybody, but we should.
No.
If you see on your screen, Nancy,
it.
there's a so you can see those. So Cindy says, what's the best way to handle customers that place orders? This is obviously in a restaurant setting, but then always complain about the food. How do you handle that when people are always complaining?
You know, the restaurant industry has been one industries in all the industries in the world that I've had a challenge with. So there's a couple things that we've decided that work in the restaurant industry. Number one, the worst time to go up to somebody and say, "Are you enjoying your food? How's it?" is when they're eating. I mean, every time somebody's down, my mouth full, everything okay? How can you answer them? Your mouth is full of food. So you might want to wait till the end of it and say, "Wasn't that great? Wasn't that great?" Very few people are going to say, "No, it wasn't." So how you ask, what you say, of course, your tone. But let me tell you something about the restaurant industry that they know. It is one of the easiest service recoveries in the world because most people are satisfied with an extra dessert, a round of drinks, and that's not going to cost the restaurant very much, if anything. So restaurant complaints, and I realize, because I unfortunately have an individual in our city here who complains every time they walk in. It's like nobody wants to wait on him because he's just a complainer trying to get a free meal. And that's unfortunate, but the bottom line, you got to deal with that too. So, you know, if somebody is having a tough time cutting their steak, keep an eye on them and just say, "That steak looks tough. You want me to get you another one?" They'll say, "Oh, I like tough steak," or whatever. But most important, and here's something else in the restaurant industry. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you brought this up. Dick and I were sitting at a restaurant, having a very in-depth conversation, and the waitress comes up. She puts her foot on the chair, you know, the bottom leg there. She said, "Where are you from?" "St. Louis." "Oh, what are you doing here?" "Speaking at a conference." And Dick and I are trying to get back into our meeting. This woman wanted to be our best friend, and she was just talking, as sweet as they come from the South. Couldn't have had a harm in her bone in her body that would hurt anybody. But she didn't get it. Somebody taught her, talk to the customers, be friendly. But you remember, sometimes there's a time when the customers don't want to talk to you. So please, if you're in the restaurant industry, bear that in mind, if you will. Okay, good question. Good question. Thank you.
And then we have a question, let's see, a couple questions about Service Ensure, how that works. Let me take a stab at it if I can, Nancy, and then you can add anything that I missed.
If I do it, you'll get mad at me. I don't know how it works. Magic. Done with mirrors is what I tell them.
I'm your Vanna White. I can't get mad at you. I'm your Vanna White. So yeah, Service Ensure, it basically is a way for you to hold your employees and your team accountable for the things that the telephone doctor teaches. And there's a few technical methods that we use for doing that, but essentially you get to hear them on the phone, interact with customers either in a real setting or in a mystery shopping setting, and then they're actually scored based on telephone doctor best practices. So it's a really useful way to hold team members accountable for providing really good customer service. And maybe the coolest thing is to hear what your customers are actually hearing as they interact and engage with your employees. So what did I miss there, Nancy? Anything else you'd want to add there?
Well, no, you did a very good job in a very appropriate amount of time. The thing that I caution people when we do it is it's painful. It's painful because it's not fun to hear somebody give a negative return of a customer when you know you've done something. So that's why our telephone doctor serviceskills.com has graded quizzes on it, which allows you to say, "Hey, Susie, you passed," and we have certificates of diploma. By the way, there are free demos and pilots on the serviceskills.com. So you've got, I mean, anything you want. We're not here to sell you, but it's interesting to know is that you've got so much information. Was there another question?
Yes, there's one more question that's kind of interesting about, it looks like in the organization, so more of a how do you deal with somebody within the organization. So I'll just read the question. It says, supervisors making decisions that are not in benefit of the program, and no one is really holding them accountable. How do we deal with this person? So if you work under somebody that you just say, look, they're not making ethical decisions, how do you handle that situation?
Well, that is probably one of the biggest things a manager owner runs into. And we have a series on our serviceskills.com called What to Say When. And one of them is what to say when there's an ethical unethical situation within your employees. What to say when your employees don't want to do, what to say when, what to say when. And there's like 25, maybe 30 little 3 to 5 minute vignettes on what to say when on our serviceskills.com. And I know there's one exactly on that topic. Forgive me for not having all the topics in front of me. But the bottom line is, with 90 modules of information on service skills, trust me, there is something there for everybody. Whether you like it or not is a different story. I've never said telephone doctor was the only or the best. We are, though, and I will stand on my little soapbox and say the most effective customer service training in the country. We believe it, and I know our customers do. And if you're sitting there saying, I use telephone doctor, by all means, shout out something on, like our Facebook page would be great. But thank you, yeah.
Wonderful. And then 2 more questions, and we'll conclude, Nancy. So Tracy asks, what are the phrases your staff is not allowed to say?
I tell you, but I have to kill you, Tracy. We have designated 5 forbidden phrases, and just for the sake of expedience, I'm just going to tell you the phrases. I'm not going to give you the positive alternatives, although you can figure them out because it's one of our best-selling. It's my best-selling program. It's my flagship program. If you go to the nancyfriedman.com, you see that's the first program out there is 5 forbidden phrases. Hell hath no fury like a customer scorn. And the first one is I don't know. That's a phrase that nobody says in my office. By the way, condition of employment, grounds for termination, and I have exercised my options. So I don't know is a forbidden phrase. We can't do that as a forbidden phrase. Here's one. Hang on a second. I'll be right back. Forbidden phrase, forbidden phrase. And then telling people what they'll have to do. Well, you'll have to send in a 50% deposit. Well, you'll have to sign this form. You don't have to do anything but die and pay taxes. And then the last sentence, or the last forbidden phrase is telephone doctor team members are not allowed to start any sentence with the word no. End of subject. So you ask anybody, if you called up and you sell flowers, they wouldn't say, no, we don't. Is Nancy there? And I'm not here. They won't say, no, she's not. No is a very negative word. You tell a dog, no, no, no. You tell a child, no. You don't tell your customers no at the start of a sentence. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to be eventually telling them, this is something that we're not able to do. You just find other words to do it. So, Tracy, you now have that information, and I urge you to watch one of the service skills. I didn't hear what company was she with. Does she say that, or I'm going to have to look up all the people named Tracy and find it.
She doesn't. Tracy, which company are you with?
Doesn't matter. Just for me. You don't have to say it. You don't have to say it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, she mentioned it. I'll let you know later. And then one more question real quick, Nancy, before we conclude is, Miguel asked, he says, how do you provide good customer service to maybe stubborn or tough franchisees that don't really want to follow maybe a program that you've established? So how do you get internal buy-in, whether that's among employees or franchisees or whatever the model is?
Miguel, I believe you were at my meeting, and I'm so glad you brought that up because we talked about that program, and I'd be happy to go over again. It involves a little story, as most of my answers do, and I apologize, but that's how you make people listen. Many years ago at Telephone Doctor, we were doing some international business, and we weren't doing very well, and our competitors were doing quite well. And I had lunch in California with a guy who was really selling millions of dollars in international business, and I had lunch with him, and I said, Jack, what are you doing? We're not doing that well international. And what he said to me was 15, 20 years ago. I've never forgotten it. He said, Nancy, if you want it to be important, you need to make it important. And so, Miguel, I'd like to talk with you separately on the franchise side because there's a little separate mission there. But in your own organization, if customer service is something that you want to be, then make it I can't use a dirty word. Make it a freaking make it the world for you, not just a department. Not just make it something that this is our life. This is what we do. Forget the signs, the bells, and the whistles. It's the practical do it that makes it happen. And you know what? People that aren't on board, we get rid of them, but that's an option that I have. You don't have to get rid of a franchise. But when you bring your franchisees in, that's the point to say this is not an option. This is something that we create. Now, the dilution factor between the franchisor, the franchisee, and then the employees, the dilution factor is there. It's real. And so we stress if you want it to be important, you've got to make it important. And there's obviously a lot more than this. I just knew where you were going with this. But my frustration is the dilution. I give information. The old story telephone. You tell somebody something, it goes on, and when he comes back to you, it's all different. That frustrates me. So I can imagine what it does to you as a franchisor, in that position. Say hi to Frank. Okay, what else is going on?
That's great. I think that pretty much covers everything.
I want to hear from everybody.
I know. Type questions if you have them. Nancy, thanks for taking the time today. I know you're busy, and I know you're...
Oh, you're never too busy for my people. They can go to Nancy at telephonedoctor.Nancy. Yeah, it's my email, Nancy at telephonedoctor.com. I love to hear from them. I do, and I am in town next week, so you will get an answer.
Great.
You guys are great. Thank you very much, McKay, for the opportunity to talk to all my friends. Ray, are you there, Ray? Oh my gosh, look at all the people. Okay, I love you all. Big hugs and kisses to everybody. Thank you very much. Don't forget the contest.
Yes, don't forget the contest. Get a free, is it a free iPad, I believe you said?
The winner that we choose is the best story will get a free iPad. Everybody else will get a free book. Everybody else gets a free book that enters. All right.
Well, thanks
Have a wonderful day, weekend, and wherever you are, believe me, there is spring and summer coming.
Believe it or not. Thank you, everybody. And Nancy, thank you. This presentation, the recording will be emailed to you tomorrow morning, I believe, and then we'll also make it available to Nancy's team so they can do with it whatever they wish. So thanks again, Nancy, so much. It's always a pleasure.
My pleasure.
And thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, McKay.
Have a great day.